somebody that couldn't come on. So Lindsay, we're happy to have you on here with us today. And I have to just say, first of all, we have some incredible leaders on this call, and a lot of them are making some sacrifices. Some of them are like on their way to work and dialed in. So some of them, they're making it happen because they have some goals, things they want to work on. And we figured, and I figured first of all, I was like, man, I never asked for help. When's the last time I asked you for help? And this is just to share with my team some of my weaknesses. Like maybe 2 years.
Yeah, we're both bad about that. Like a lot of top leaders are though.
I haven't asked for help for a long time. So I figured, Lindsay, just so you guys know, she's a triple 15-star diamond and almost 15-star in her 4th business center as well. So I figured if that's a goal that I have personally, or if you guys have your goal of elite or whatever your goal is this year, she's done all of it that any of us want to do. So she's the person that we can really learn from. So Lindsay, I had my coaches, come up with some questions and think about things they want. And I'm sure as you're talking, they'll come up with more. So I'm just going to pass it over to you just to kind of share first before you start, like why setting goals is important for you and like how you've gotten to where you're at. So we can kind of get that mindset, and then we'll let somebody ask a question to you.
Cool. So obviously I've been in all of you guys' shoes, depending on where you're at in the business. I recognize a lot of the faces, but I know that. Hold on 1 second.
I'm going to mute a few too until they need to ask a question. There we go.
Okay, there we go. So I know it can be frustrating and overwhelming, and you have all those doubts in your mind of like the reasons why you can't do it. And, I've kind of like been able to see Scottie firsthand grow into the person that he is today. And I know, obviously the goal of 15-star, I remember when I first said it, it was more so to me about showing my team that it was possible for them too, than it was about me hitting 15-star. And that's actually continued to be sort of what drives me in the business. It's like, well, if I can do that, then what can I do next? And that started with small goals, like hitting Success Club 10 every month that I've ever been a coach. And every month it wasn't easy. Like it was a struggle, especially in the beginning. And there's still been months like later on in your business where, at some point you took a little bit of a break, probably too much of one. And then all of a sudden you're struggling at the end of the month. And I guess for me, goals have been something that push me outside my comfort zone and stretch me. And if I don't have a goal at this point, I almost go into like a mini depression because I don't like not growing and I've become addicted to it. But I remember in the beginning, when I would set my crazy, crazy goals, thinking all those feelings coming up and me having all those excuses pop up and me having to make a choice. Do I kind of like say, yeah, you're probably right. All those thoughts that are going through my mind that's probably true. Or, obviously you hear all the time about your why. I know on Scottie's team, you definitely do. But it was the truth. Like my daughter's future and the kind of life that I wanted to create for us was so much more important than my excuses. I had to just push through them. So what I do with a lot of my coaches when we're at the point that you guys are at, which some of you are diamond, some of you are star diamond because I see you. And then some of you may be on the brink, maybe some of you fall in and out, is to really focus back on the basics and get to the nitty gritty. I actually did a fun competition. I'm actually in 15-star qualification in my 4th, and it's the 3rd week right now. So halfway there. And we've had like this fun little competition and amongst the ones that are all pushing, and it's not just my 4th center, business center of diamonds, it's a bunch of people that have slipped in and out or have been really close. And that was just honestly creating like a point system that helped us with the activities that help you actually rank advance. Because if you're just focused on the rank, you get there and it's so anticlimactic because we all know, if those of you who have ever been diamond, you can sometimes make like $18 that week, So there's not like some huge payoff. So you've got to get so focused beyond the diamond that you're going to hit diamond and you're just going to explode from there. I actually don't even give gifts until 1 star for that reason, because I don't want people to ever feel like, oh, diamond is the destination. Like diamond's just really the launching pad for your team, and it's for you to now set the example for them by the actions that you're taking. So I'm gonna let me see if I can pull up this thing that I did. This was really, really fun. And April seemed at the beginning to be like a pretty slow month, and so I was like, gosh, I gotta do something to get these people moving. because I hate stagnance, not only in my business, but in their businesses too, because I know that this is a business built on momentum. And the moment that you slow down, all your hard work from the previous months goes to waste, because this business has like usually a 2 or 3 month delay. So like what you're doing today, you're not getting paid on today, most likely, unless it's just a commission sale. With the work that you're doing with your team pays off 2, 3, 4 months from now, especially right now being, 3 or 4 months from Summit. All right, let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, this might look a little confusing right now. Actually, I'm going to go to a different one. Sorry. I have one in May because it went so well. We're doing it again. All right. So basically what I did was we assigned points to different activities. One, inviting. So one for every public invite, one for every private invite. And they're tracking those. They have to be unique private invites. So it can't just be like a copy and paste of 50 different people. It has to be something specific to that person. If there was a Bombshell Dynasty team call, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, that was amazing. And it was all about personal invites and just how much more effective they are if they are really like hitting hard on that specific person, not just focusing on what you're trying to get out of the interaction, but you're reminiscing on a time that you guys have together, a moment that you guys have together, or some commonality that you have. And it was just a really good call. So if you ever want to go back, if you weren't on that call live, it was, I believe, 3 weeks ago. And I think the title is Personal Invites, and it's on bombshelldynasty.com. And the password is, let's see, courage. I think about that for a second. Okay. Then the other thing that we're tracking is number of downline coaches with 1 success club point or more. And the reason why that's so important is that shows who your actual business builders are, because you're going to have people that say they're business builders, but if you go to their Facebook, you would never know they're a coach. You would never see them inviting. They don't ever have any points on the board. And I'm sorry to say, like, those are discount coaches. And one of the things I want my people that are, pushing for diamond or trying to push for like even star diamond is for them to take a realistic look at their business. And it's okay to build to diamond on discount coaches, but discount coaches alone and the 8 that you have plus the 2 emeralds is not going to keep you there. So I have that in there because I want them to take a realistic look at their business and say, okay, who are the people that are going to, not only build their own income, but are going to build residual volume. And we want to be diamonds that get paid, right? You don't want to have an income to be able to, have the freedom that you want with your life. So that's another area that we're focusing on. Obviously, new personally sponsored coaches, really important. And then new emeralds on their team to focus them on getting people that are actually building a team of their own. Them holding diamond each week is 5 points. And that's also getting them to check their drill down. So like, Scottie shouldn't have to be the one that tells you you have an inactive coach this week that's going to fall out for you to realize that your diamond's in danger. That should be something, now that you are business owners, and if this is something that you're seriously trying to pursue, that you do 2 to 3 times a week. And especially in the beginning, because there is so many things that are fluctuating. Now, I'm not every single day checking my drill down, making sure everything's perfect in all my business centers. It'd be crazy. But in the beginning, when a business is new or when it's in a qualification or things are fresh, I am on top of my game because it is important to me. And I want to be aware of, if I have somebody going inactive and they're going to make me drop out of a rank, that I have 6 days to focus on finding somebody to replace them. And I'm not just hoping. I don't hope anything with my business. I am intentional about what I'm doing in my business from day one. And that's the way that you grow a successful business. I don't think that Apple wakes up and like wings it, neither should you. You should have a game plan, and you should really be tracking these things in your business to show, are you going to have the growth that you desire to have? You can say, oh, by July, I want to make $500 a week. Well, that's great. How are you going to get there? And you have to break down these activities, and these kind of activities, growth in these different areas, is how you grow to get to that goal. And then we did a Thursday tracker, and I'll show you guys that as well. It's just basically them tracking different areas of business that I found to be like the most important areas to track. And like I said, and I think that was in the National Wake Up Call too that I listened to earlier that Christina Delgado did. She talked about, what you track is what expands, and that's really, really true. So let me see if I can show you that tracker. Okay. So we track the 3 vitals: personal development, personal fitness, and then number of Beachbody customers that they have total, number of personally sponsored coaches active on the left and on the right, their personal Success Club points, PS coaches that have Success Club points, volume on the left leg, right leg, number of emeralds on the left leg and on the right leg, number of total friends and likes if they're using a like page, number of posts that they made in the week, number of public invites, number of private invites, and their income. And I'll even do like income spread by like commission versus team bonus, because I think team bonus is the most important because that's residual income. So anyway, the reason I wanted to share that with you is just I found that if we're not just tracking a rank, but we're actually tracking activities that build not just a rank, but an income and a team and success, that you're far more likely to blow past your goal of diamond a lot quicker than if you're just to say, oh gosh, I've got to fill in these spots and then try to my best to get those people to stay. Because you're going to see people come and go. I mean, you could be the best coach in the entire world, but you're not going to have people, some people are just not going to be right for the business, or they're not going to see the long-term thing for this. And that's okay. Like, I'm totally cool if somebody else finds their passion. My goal as a coach is that I get them one step closer to God's will for their life. If that might be that they want to go join another MLM, that's great. I hope that they go succeed in that. If they end up, deciding, oh my gosh, they're obsessed with animals and they really want to do something with that, then I'm happy that maybe they can take something from what they learned from me and go apply it to that. So it's not about convincing people. It really is about finding the right people. But the only way you find those people is if you're engaged in those activities that I just showed you, and you're focused on growing those things on a regular basis. So does that kind of get us started, Scottie? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, that's perfect. So I just want you guys to ask, with specific places you're in your business, and just like Kendra's doing, raise your hand, unmute yourself, and just go for it.
Thank you, Lindsay, for being on the call.
Oh, hi, Kendra.
My question is, do you do things to hold your coaches accountable to their goals in terms of looping back with them or asking them, or do you mainly set up opportunities for accountability, such as this group and these trackers, and just if they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't?
So because of how many people I have at this point, I'm more so the latter. And I honestly think that personal accountability has to play a role in this business. Like, you can manage all day long, but at some point, if they need somebody, a parent or a teacher type, to get them to grow their business, there's going to be a cap on what they're capable of. I definitely love push groups like the one that I'm doing. So I love different things like that. I'll do like a lot of Success Club pushes the last 10 days of the month. Anything that's like fun and new, my team seems to really thrive on. And another thing is like knowing your team. So I pulled my team's personality recently, and that's the reason I did this group. I found out like 70% of the ones that, were close to diamond were sapphires, and sapphires love fun and recognition. And by me drilling, like talking about points and making it too structured, that's not fun for them. And so they were really disengaged. But as soon as I put a fun challenge and like did little cute prizes, all about it. And I didn't have to spend thousands of dollars or anything. I threw like $100 out there with multiple different prizes amongst that. And it was just, nothing crazy. So it was $100 worth of prizes, I think, in first, second, and third place. So a fun way to get them to re-engage. And then there weren't 100% success rates. So like people did say, I want to be in the group. And then like, there's a 30-40% rate of people just not joining. And that also shows me who I should be spending my time with. And I also said a thing of, if you don't hit Success Club in the month prior, then there's no one-on-one call. So I put like stipulations to try to help that out as well. Anyone else?
Okay, I'm going to ask another one. What do you cover in your GSR with your coaches?
Okay, so I think we all kind of change little by little, as we go through. I'll have phases of coaches that are different than others. But I tend to now not go into like all the details of here's how, here's Emerald, this and that. I spend like half the call really getting to know them, usually they'll know a little bit about my story, so I'll just ask them details about their story. And I think asking really good questions to start to get them to open up is the best way to start a relationship with somebody as a coach, because to know them and what they really care about is really makes it so much easier to motivate them. And you can talk about Success Club all day long, but if they're just looking at it as points and not an actual thing that's going to happen in their life when they or make possible in their life, it's not as motivating. So if I can relate it back to the fact that they told me, like Scottie, you know, with him wanting to bring Gabby home and for him to be able to make $10,000 a month or a year, sorry, it was just a year. It's crazy to think. So, you know, you can relay that back and say, look, you said that that was a priority to you. And I know it's just 2 points that you need, but really those 2 points are getting you a big step closer to bringing your wife home. You know, is it worth it to push past that? And so that's half the call. The other half of the call is honestly lately just been letting them know to breathe and not freak out, because I think we get into the business, we see all this like stuff, and I say, look, I'm going to break this down for you, and I just want you to know that you don't need to know everything that you see. Like, you're going to see and hear people talk about stuff, and it's not going to make any sense to you, and I want you to know that's normal, and that you don't need to know everything all at once. So what I want you to focus on, our very first goal is going to be for you to invite to be into one of my challenge groups as an apprentice coach. And apprentice coach is a fancy word for meaning you're going to be in the challenge group, being a product of the product, and inviting somebody as your accountability partner. I don't want you to pretend to know everything, and I don't want you to think that, you know, you're going to have to do more than what you're capable of. You're literally just going to be leading them by example and bringing somebody along. And that's going to get you your first paycheck, and that's the scariest part, is just asking those first couple people. And then I'll say the second goal is what's called Success Club, and it's a fancy word for how we measure that you're growing consistently every single month. And basically it means that you helped 3 people in a month. And so it's not that you have to go and, you know, sell 25 challenge packs. It's literally 3 people in 1 month, and I'll help you with different ideas on how to share that kind of stuff and be able to make it easy as possible. And then I'll say the third milestone is Emerald. We'll talk about that later, but basically means that you would have 2 teammates underneath you. And so I try not to get into the nitty gritty, but I do let them know, like, here's the first 3 milestones. It's going to be basic, and I'm going to walk you through the whole social media thing. And you'll know everything you need to know by the end of the 30 days.
I have a question, Lindsay.
Sure.
So I actually duplicate a little bit of your Coach Basics group, where that's not necessarily structured, where you don't ensure that you track how far they've come through that. Once they complete it, where do you take them after that?
So you're talking about the Bombshell Basics group?
Yes.
So I really just honestly created that through being able to help like our entire team. So of course there's because I think there's 84,000 people on our team now. There's so many people out there that don't have an upline that runs groups, and they were coming to me wanting to join mine. And obviously it dilutes the groups if there's hundreds of people in them rather than my personally sponsored coaches. So I made that as a way for them to be able to have the same process, but to be able to go at their own pace. And then also for my coaches that would come in and they wanted to go so much faster than what I go for the average person, that they could go at their own pace. Or somebody who gets behind in the group that we're doing and they can go through that as a process. So I do still run a separate group every single month, just for my personally sponsored coaches, using the same content, same structure as that, but it's more easily, I'm easily able to track who's kind of completing and who's not. Whereas in that group, it's really difficult for me to track. Lindsay Westbrook is actually the one that came up with the concept, and I liked it at first because I was like, ooh, I can go hands off. But then I realized I'm not having near as much success if I'm just dropping them off and like, go have fun. I found that I still needed the group structure for me personally, just to have that interaction, get to know their story a bit more. So I would say almost use it more as that thing, like what I said, use it for the people that are runners, use it for the people that are maybe discount coaches and might want to dabble or look up a couple of different things, or for downline coaches that, you know, you can't necessarily have every single person a part of your personal groups. Does that make sense?
It does. So once you finish that first 30 days with your PS coaches, where do you take them after that?
So usually by the end of that, our goal with the 30 days is to get them into a challenge group as an apprentice coach by the end of that, and have them at least have 1 or 2 people in that group with them. So our focus goes more into that challenge group. And at that point, I usually run an Emerald to Diamond group and say, I'll post in the personally sponsored group that I have, hey, I'm going to be running one if you're interested, and kind of going to the next level, request to join. And I give them the option to join. It's not something that they have to do. And some people do and some people don't. And some people join it, 5 different times. Kind of just depends. But that would be the next level. And then beyond that, it would be the group like I just showed you, or even I'll do like some occasional push to diamond group.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Lindsay, I have a
question for you, Lindsay.
Hi, Lori.
Oh, hey, how are you doing? Thanks for doing this call for us. We really appreciate it. What is, for your personal coach page, what's the tone in there? Because I feel like I'm on a balance between like die hard, go for it, this is the thing you got to do, and you're amazing, you're special, you're wonderful.
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly trying to figure out, and some coaches are like, you're overwhelming me, Lori. And other people are like, I want you to hold my hand and do it day by day. So for your page, what's your tone?
Well, so I have actually 2 different pages because I've got now almost 6 years of coaches. So what I found is I had these elders, the group of Scottie and Shay and Lindsay Stay and people that have been around for a long time. And I didn't want every time I add a new coach, you'd be like, welcome, blah, 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 and they're seeing all that stuff. I knew that they are really involved in their own team pages and they just need the pertinent information to be able to share with you guys. So I have a group for, it's 2010 through 2014, I think, leaders. And then I have another one for my brand new these past 2 years. And obviously they're at different levels, different content is going to go to different people. So the one for the older people, I tend to post things that they can share with you guys. So if I see a really good post, or if I see a good graphic or a great video or a call that I really like, I'll share it in there. And they'll usually go and share it with you guys if they find it good. The other group is more about the basics. It's more about, me shouting out somebody who has a really good example invite. Like I'll see one of my new coaches post a bold invite and I'll share it there to recognize her, but also to like share with the other people, hey, this is what a good invite looks like and this is why. And I use it for we do top coaches of the week. So we'll share, who the top performers were PV wise, and then we'll shout out people that are brand new emeralds and stuff like that. But I also like to use it as like my truth bomb, and throw some truth bombs in there and let them detonate to have people realize, hey, you gotta step it up, my friends, and stop being little babies. And, some of them, I actually posted one, I think it was yesterday. Yeah. No, it was this morning at 4 a.m. when I couldn't sleep. So I posted one in there, and what happens is somebody will say, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed to hear. I've been feeling this way. And then somebody else sees it and they're like, oh my gosh, me too. And then those people start to bond because they realize that they're not alone. And I think that's probably the hardest thing for coaches out there is you see so many people being celebrated and you feel like the dud because you're like, gosh, I am struggling. But really, probably majority of people are out there feeling a little bit of struggle. And we have a couple of people that are in their moment of glory, but it's helping them to realize they're not alone. We've all been through that, but how you overcome that. So it's different stuff for those different coaches. But yeah, a lot of the truth bomb stuff, a lot of encouraging, recognizing the small little things rather than the massive things. Because in the other group, we've got people that are making millions of dollars and, the newbies are like, gosh, I'd just like to make 100. It'd be awesome. So that helps to have the 2 separate ones.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
I have a question for you, Lindsay.
Sure.
Okay, so as you know, this business is just a roller coaster. You go up and down,
Yeah.
And when you go up, you're really excited and happy. But when you go down, you usually get sad, and lose momentum and everything. And I'm taking the advice for my coach, Scottie, when he said, when you're feeling like this, just step back and just go back to the basics. And that's what I do. But I like what you said, because I think that's my attitude, just hoping that something happens because I'm doing the 3 things, my vital behaviors. But what is one thing or 2 things that you do intentionally in your business to make things happen?
When I'm feeling down or just
when you are in this down part of the roller coaster?
So But believe it or not, you continue to be on the roller coaster regardless of your rank or your income or anything. I mean, it's just part of life. I don't even think it's just this business. I think just life in general is a roller coaster. And I think that for me, it has been in the lows, realizing it's not there to defeat me, but it's like there to teach me something, and to continue to ask myself, what is this here to teach me, and how could I possibly use it to better or inspire other people? And, you know, it's not every time that, oh my gosh, the answer is clear as day and I'm all of a sudden like, yay. But I literally enthrall myself in personal development when I'm in those down periods. And I will tell you, like, I'll listen to the first one and I'm like in such a bratty mood. And I'm like, this sucks. It's horrible. I don't want to listen to it. It's, you know, but I just keep going, you know, and eventually by like the third or fourth one, or third or fourth day sometimes, I literally will listen to it in the shower. I'll listen to it while I'm getting ready. I'll listen to it while I'm working out. I force myself, knowing that it's worked in the past, that it will work again. And something all of a sudden starts to click and I start to feel like alive again, and something inspires me, and I'll go to my team and I'll be honest. I think I shared this on a team call. Like, I'll be honest if I'm feeling down and share that I'm human too. And a lot of times that helps people to feel like, oh gosh, well, if she feels that way sometimes, then it's, you know, not so bad that I do. And so asking what it's there to teach me. And a lot of times it's because I need to pay that lesson forward to my team and let them know, like, hey, look, none of us are exempt from hard times, and you're going to have defeating moments, but it really is there to teach you. Like, I can look back and look at the crappiest things that have happened in the business and say, okay, yeah, I learned a lot from those experiences. And you can look at your life, I'm sure, before Beachbody, and all the bad moments and things that you've had that are trials, they probably shaped you the most. So accepting that that's part of life and that is there to teach you major things is definitely number one. Let's see, number two on the downtime. I guess just really reminding myself why I'm doing it in the first place. And I do think stepping away for a day is not a bad idea, because sometimes the emotional side of it just needs to calm down and you need to go into yeah, I do think that reminding myself why I do this and trying to dig deeper, and your why does change. So you have to constantly reevaluate that as well, because my why is not the same. It's not like my family's going to go without food if I don't work. So you have to kind of find that new thing that's going to reignite your passion for this. And yeah, somebody did have a lot going. So those two things, the lessons and reminding myself why I'm in it, are the big ones.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else? And P.S., if you didn't listen to the National Wake Up Call this past Monday, I think it was really crucial, especially where you guys are at. And she talked a lot about the leader ladder. And I think that is just like the best way to track your business. If you're not using the tracker that I showed you, and I can send that to Scottie and send it to you guys, the leader ladder really does track all the areas of your business that you need to be hitting to be able to move it forward in big ways. And she talked a lot about, like, Success Club is not like an option. It's your job. It really is your job to hit Success Club. So it kills me a little bit inside when I see my diamonds at 2 points at the end of the month, not because it benefits me in any way, because 90% of my team is older than 2 years. So it's not counting towards elite points, nothing like that. It's honestly just because I know their business is going to start to unravel, and I don't want that for them. I don't want to see people's hard work go to waste, and I don't want to see people's teams fall apart, but I guarantee you won't have coaches hitting Success Club if you're not. So, and Success Club equals more volume, and volume equals growth for everybody. It benefits everyone to have more volume. It means your coaches are making paychecks, which means your paychecks goes up. So that was super crucial, and I thought that call was just phenomenal. So I would definitely check that out if you haven't listened to it.
Lindsay, this is a two-part question. First of all, when you're like pushing for a big goal, like when you're pushing for 15-star, how do you keep it about their goals, but also make sure they stay on track? As in, you look at your drill down and you see they have someone going inactive.
Yeah.
What do you say? How do you frame that to get everyone to stay to hold it and to stay on track?
Well, I can speak for this time around. One, they don't know I'm qualifying right now. So, and I've actually have told people in the past, I've done it both ways. This time, because I'm pregnant and I wanted like peace in my life, just decided I'm not going to stress myself out about it. But in previous times, I felt like it was a goal that we did together. The last one, we had a retreat deadline and that was attached to it. So it was kind of like a way that they were all pushing together. But for this time, I needed something that would create momentum and would make them excited. And that's why I did that group, because it attached, obviously they have long-term goals. They know that their long-term goals are attached to being a diamond, growing past diamond. So we talked about that. But there's also like the short-term race and short-term like fun thing that made them push past. Because sometimes our long-term goal seems so far away, it's not as motivating as we need it to be. And so I think that having that group really, really helped me to like get a sense of urgency going. And it was almost immediate. And I guess like I said before, it goes back to their personality types too, because that's what they're driven by. I tend to attract people that are sapphire or ruby. And so they're very driven by that kind of stuff. But I think having some sort of sense of urgency, some sort of deadline and something that you're doing together and creating that community is really, really important. And I do let them know. I check on Thursday mornings, and obviously Shakeology orders, just so you guys know, sometimes Shakeology orders that are auto ship haven't gone through. Your definite inactives are going to show on Saturday, but I'll go through on Thursday and just give them a heads up, like, hey, do you know if this person's on auto ship still? Because it could potentially, hurt you for your diamond this week. And give them 6 full days to be able to have that buffer. And then on Saturday, I look again and I'll say, oh, you're good actually, but let's still push and get another couple coaches under there. Oh, let me pull this up. I also don't really focus on diamonds so much now. I'm going to show you what I actually focus on. I more so focus on them filling out this chart, which is a solid diamond business in my opinion. So 6 active coaches on each side and then 2 emeralds on each side. I know that people get like all about that weak leg. But I find that if you can just get it to this point, then you can just, everything after that can go on your weak leg and you don't even have to stress about your strong leg anymore. So, and if you have let's say you have an emerald that has 6 active coaches, 3 on each side, then you don't necessarily need 2 emeralds on that side to be considered solid in my opinion. But if it's just 2 people and one going inactive makes them fall out, I don't believe that's a solid business. So a lot of times we stay focused on this rather than just 8 coaches and 1 emerald on each side, because I think people get to diamond and they're like, thank goodness I arrived. And it just tends to blow up in their face. So we talk a lot about this. And I even will give them updated charts. I'll fill it out for them to show them that, hey, here's where you're at. So as soon as you hit this, you're going to be able to load your weak side. And that kind of tends to motivate them as well.
Lindsay, I have a really silly question. This is Lori again. You're so cool in terms of gifts and all that stuff. I mean, the necklace you came up with. What type of gifts do you give to people? Because I'm a horrible shopper. I'm not creative in terms of things like this. I'm not girly. Yeah. So you mentioned some gifts. What do people like? I have no idea.
So my girls tend to like anything that's a designer they wouldn't normally be able to, or they wouldn't, not even necessarily wouldn't be able to afford, but wouldn't go out and buy themselves. The reason why I did the Tiffany's necklaces for One Star is every girl fantasizes, or most girls fantasize about getting a little blue box with the white ribbon. And that necklace is $125. So it's not like it's, a $700 necklace, but the Tiffany's box and just the fact that they're getting something from Tiffany's is a moment. I actually just had somebody the other day. It's like, I'm 42 years old. I never have gotten a Tiffany's box. I'm kind of given up on ever having one. It was a big deal for her to get that Tiffany's box. So things like that. And then Kate Spade, you can get $50 earrings or something like that. But because it's Kate Spade and she's never had anything Kate Spade, it's super exciting. For guys, a lot of times I'll ask Billy, because my husband is all about little gadgets. We get Amazon deliveries every day. I'll ask him, what the new thing is. We've done the 6-pack coolers back in the day. We've done backpacks because our guys are constantly traveling, going to events and stuff. We've done that. What else? Scottie would probably know. Um,
He gives us books, which are great.
okay, so yeah, books.
I like them. Yeah.
Yeah, books are really great. Let's see. We've done t-shirts. The girls seem to love any kind of branded thing to the team because it's something to carry around. It's almost like wear and share, but it's not just Beachbody wear and share. It's like specific to us and our culture, and that creates it to be a little bit more special. We've done, that was a really cute one. We did a water bottle that had your name on it with like glitter letters, and it was just super cute, and it was pretty inexpensive. I think it was 15 or 20 bucks. The most expensive part was shipping that sucker out because it was an odd shape, so try to think about that at a time too.
Yeah.
T-shirts are super easy to ship. There's so many places that you can just get like 1 or 2 t-shirts now that you can just go online and look up something. And anything custom, people tend with their name on it. I know especially when you have a weirder name, even Lindsay, the way I spell it is I never find anything with my spelling. So it's always nice for me to have something with Lindsay or something for their kids. I've done a lot of like Toys R Us gift cards. Holy crap. Like people will push like crazy for gift cards that they can buy something for their kids, just to have that, like, I can go on a shopping spree and not even feel bad about it. And it's something for my kids.
That's awesome.
Like that's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. No bobbleheads yet, because that's what a Beachbody that side of things.
It's sad that the new bobblehead we got of Sagi looks exactly like my husband.
Oh, really?
So all day long, I'm like,
It works out.
Yeah.
I don't know about Shalene's. Hers is a little weird looking.
Yeah.
Hey, Lindsay, I wanted to ask you, at what point do you set them free to run their own challenge groups? Is it they just do one with you and then they're out on their own, or do you let them hang around? Or?
So usually I'll give them a chance to do it twice. And at that point, if they still feel like, oh my gosh, because, a lot of times you'll have only like 2 or 3 people by the 2nd or 3rd month, and they're like nervous to just have 2 or 3 people. So what I'll do is I'll combine them in groups. So in the group that I have for just the last 2 years of coaches, I'll say like, hey, who has a couple people for a challenge group that I'm going to link up with some other coaches to run it together. So maybe like 3 or 4 of them pull together and they run the challenge group, and all together they have, let's say, 15, 20 coaches or customers. And it makes it a lot more fun. And that way they start to go into like success club groups or success partners. And not necessarily having that, like, I'm asking you to be my success partner, but just more so we're running a group together and we can find out and use our strengths with each other. So that's usually how she is adorable.
Thank you.
Look at that hair.
She was born with it.
That's crazy.
Thank you. And then I think that was my only question. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Because I have just a few coaches, so it doesn't feel like I'm on under a canceled coach. So I don't have a huge downline of coaches to like group. Sorry.
Yeah.
Done.
even just a couple, but encouraging them to jump out on their own, because they will stay under your wing for as long as they possibly can, but it doesn't help them to grow,
That's what I'm kind of feeling like. I feel like they've kind of been huddling with me too long. Like,
yeah.
They need to fly.
Yeah, you got to kick them out of the nest eventually.
Yeah.
They fly on the way down. But yeah, and you can tell them like you're always going to be there, and they use my template a lot of times, and we'll just make little adjustments. But eventually they've got to start to push outside themselves.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Lindsay, it's Jen Greenberg.
Hi, Jen.
Hey.
Good.
I just wanted to say real quick, obviously, like, I'm already a very solid diamond.
Really?
One of the things I think is like awesome about being a part of this 15-star push with Scottie is that, like, all of us need to visualize ourselves in this same position going forward in our own businesses. So that's why, like, I think it's cool to be a part of Scottie's push. And I know that I'll be having a call like this with my team soon, like when we start doing our own push for 15-star and those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I did actually have a question, because like when you mentioned that a lot of the people that you attract are very like challenge motivated, ruby, sapphire type people. I'm very much a pearl, and a lot of people I attract are pearl. So when I try and do like a race to diamond, I get crickets. Like
Yeah.
nobody wants to do that. So
Yeah.
like, how do you get like people like me and Arnell? Like, I know you've had some pearls in your
Yeah.
organization. So like, how do you get those people motivated to go outside of their comfort zone and really push?
So they are challenging, and luckily I live with like the world's ultimate pearl. My husband's like the biggest pearl ever. And he's motivated by like helping our family. And so it's, for my pearls, it tends to be about keeping them focused on that why, and that it's not just about a rank. It's not just about, I want to get as many people as possible, or prizes even. The prize is that they get to help, the people that they care most about, and that they really are making a difference. And so you do have to weave that in there. And if I do have pearls, I'll let them know like, hey, don't feel the pressure to like compete with everybody. It's really, a competition for yourself to be able to push past, your own limitations and things that are holding you back, to be able, to be the kind of person that you want to for your family, the matriarch or whatever, the kind of goals that you want to have for your family. So they tend to be more motivated by that long-term vision. And you do have to a little bit kind of give them the nudge to push past their tendency to kind of be turtles and go in their shell. I have a guy, he was actually part of that group, and about a weekend he hadn't posted anything, and I was like, Mike, where are you at? And I know it's really important for him, and it's for his kids that they have the freedom to go, and he's being able to be part of their life. And so I just reminded him in that message, and he's like, you're right, I don't know if the group is right for me, but I do need to step outside my comfort zone, and I'm going to be doing this, and this. And so I'm going to kind of keep him accountable, but not in a like drill sergeant type way, but just sort of an encouraging way to say, like, okay, so where are we at? What are our goals for our family? So that we can start to nudge towards those. But yeah, pearls are definitely challenging in the business area because I'm not a pearl at all. So it is challenging. And I guess that's why like attracts like. So I think for you, it's probably asking yourself what motivated you. It was probably the fact that you could help Mikey and be able to build the life that you guys are living now. So sharing that story with them and letting them know what drove you, and that it wasn't just money or, greed or anything like that. It was about being that person for your family.
Yeah, I guess that is, like when I look back at my business, it was when, I got pregnant and kind of shared my pregnancy journey and everything. That's really like when my business started to take off, which is a lot of people like put their business on the back burner during pregnancy and stuff. But
right.
That was like overdrive for me because I'm like, all right, I've got 9 months to get this thing.
The deadline. Yeah, the deadline is real.
Cool.
Yeah,
thank you.
Maybe sharing that more with your coaches, and that it was your driving force.
Yeah, I guess I don't really talk about it all that much. So cool. Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else? So I know you guys' deadline is the 12th. So what? That's 9 days away. So I'm all about, a solid push and going outside. I believe that my business at least has been built in seasons of just straight hustle. And I've seen Scottie in his hustle. And I guess I was thinking about it last night, thinking about Scottie's page now. And I know that he's been hustling lately for the 15-star goal, but he spends a lot of time with his family. They get to go on cool vacations and it's chill. But I can tell you that he wasn't like that always, like I remember when we were jumping on the phone and it was like his lunch break, and it was right after he had just done like 3 back-to-back follow-up calls, and he was then working and then getting home and staying up until 1 o'clock at night. And it's like there is a necessary hustle and there's a necessary sacrifice you have to make. And especially with right now being 9 days, you can, just like Autumn says, you can do anything for a minute. You can do anything for 9 days, okay? So like you can shut off your TV if this is important to you, if it's something that you really want to do. You can shut off your TV. You can, spend less time with your friends. You can even tell your family like, hey, I'm going to spend, this amount of time once my daughter goes to sleep or whatever, spending on my business for the next 9 days. After those 9 days, we can have 1 full day as a family together that we're going to go and celebrate. And then it's not like you go drop it after that either. It's you got to go back into it to be able to maintain and continue to grow. But it's possible you would be shocked if you really went all in with your business for 9 days, what can happen in 9 days. Like I've seen in my own life and I've seen in my coach's life, if you really put your mind to something, like, it's insane what you can achieve, but you have to take that ceiling out, of what's possible and what you've done in the past. You can't say, well, I've only ever gotten to Success Club 5 in the past. Well, guess what? In 1 month, I went from like Success Club, I think 10 was my max, and I won a contest, with 4 or 5 times that, the next month, and I had no prospects, like nothing. And I don't even look back and know exactly how I did it. I just went to the zone and I just completely said, this is not an option for me to fail. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I know it's going to be worth it. So I just say, like, if you have 9 days, no excuses, take the glass ceiling, shatter it, and go all in and see what happens. Because you guys, Scottie achieving the 15 star is not really just about Scottie. Scottie needs more money. Trust me, I can see his matching bonus, okay? He makes plenty of money. It's not about that. It's really that I know his heart, and I know that he's trying to make this possible for all of you guys and your future. And that's why it's important to me. That's why I showed up, because I believe that you guys have already been a 15-star team, and I'd rather, I want to see you guys celebrated like that, because you deserve it. And you guys have all put in a lot of hard work, and you changed a lot of lives, but it's just about going a little bit further and making it happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Lindsay. We're almost at an hour. I wanted to keep it at an hour to value your time, and so we can all get back to work, right? But do any of you guys, with the last 9 minutes, does anyone else have a question that you want to ask? Christian, I saw your hand come up earlier. That's
Yeah, I would love to ask a question. I have a limiting belief, Lindsay and Scottie. I'm ready to step out and be a leader. And one of the issues that I am not overcoming, that I have actually made a plan to step out and start doing coach up calls. But because I have no fear in doing invites for my challengers, but I have a fear in taking on the responsibility of building leaders. What had to happen for both of you to where you just pushed forward and just dove in?
Oh, I guess I realized that, to lead someone, to be a teacher, you don't need to be a know-it-all. I realized that I just needed to be one step ahead of them. And I guess that's why it's so important that we always like preaching the whole, you have to hit Success Club and you have to do this. Basically, you have to practice what you preach, because they're not going to do what you say. They're going to do what you do. It's just like having a kid. Like when you're having a child, you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so not ready for this. What am I going to do? There's so many things I thought I'd need to prepare myself for before I do this. And then you just do it. You kind of just figure it out as you go. But same thing with coaching. You're one step ahead of them. So you do have great advice to give them. And the cool thing about where you guys are at is you not only have like your own self and your own experience, you've got our entire team with tons and tons of content and great calls that are already done that you're going to be able to provide for them. So it's not like you're going to just be the only one coaching them and all of a sudden they're going to ask a question you don't know the answer to and you failed them. There are so many resources available to both of you guys. And I guess for me, back in the day when I had no resources, I thought, even if I just help someone make one paycheck, would it be so bad? I needed the one paycheck. I needed the $30 at the time that I signed up. And so I stopped thinking, oh my gosh, what if I never create somebody who's super successful? I just started to think, I can just better their life a little bit. And I knew that I was passionate about it. I knew the products worked. So I was just like, I'm going to take a step in faith and I'm going to learn as I go. And I'm going to continue. I know that I'm going to continue with my own journey and keep taking steps to make myself grow. And if I do that, then I'll be able to give them advice based on my experiences. And that's really what you are as a leader. Same thing with like us being coaches, like the name coach is scary. Your challengers don't need you to be a nutrition expert. They don't need you to be a fitness expert. They just need you to be on the journey with them. And so it's the exact same thing with your actual teammates. It's not about you knowing everything. It's not about you being the expert, knowing every part about the drill down. It's literally you being on the journey with them and being able to be accountability partners and growing it. So I think it was just honestly being willing to fail forward and willing to put myself out there. And my first business opportunity call was probably awful. And John Maxwell talks a lot about that we all suck the first time we do something. We all sucked at walking the first time we tried. So but we're pretty good at it right now, most of us. So I think that that's just a reminder to yourself, like be willing to fail your way forward and give yourself grace and know that, you know, as long as you're in it and you know you're not going anywhere, you're going to be a great leader.
Okay.
Scottie?
Nailed it. So for me personally, I want to make everybody, like my personality, like I love everybody and I want everybody to be successful and to be happy. And so for me in the beginning, it was really hard to see when somebody doesn't do something, but I know they have the potential to do it. So, and it came from listening to a lot of personal development. Like I had those same beliefs. So like for me personally, when I first started that, obviously it's grown. Like I had to create like my own little personal questions and rules of what a great leader was. Like for me to be their coach and leader. And for me, so I still remember it because I've helped show a couple people, but for me, because it was scary to bring somebody on when you haven't created the success yet, or you don't have the income or any of that stuff, right? And you're trying to figure it out, and at the same time, you're there to teach them. And Lindsay nailed it, you know, when she says you're on the journey with them. But for me, like I defined a successful leader in the beginning for me as somebody that we have 4 vital behaviors now, but it was 3 in the beginning. So I said, I'm a successful leader. So I created my own like little rule, right? Or a successful or a good leader if I make sure that I stay focused on my purpose and my why, and that I show up every day and do the best that I can in the 3 vital behaviors. And we'll just get better at everything else little by little. If I do that, I'm a good leader, no matter what happens. Like, and even today, I guess as I repeat that, that's what makes me feel good to wake up today. Like, let's say you're in I remember once we were in 13-star qualification, and like you guys didn't know that, kind of like how Lindsay said, and we dropped all the way to 4-star that week, right? So that you could start to get into that despair place, right? But I sat down and I just, you know, I refocused, but I could go into those ideas of like, maybe I'm not a good leader, like those thoughts, right? So I always ask myself the right types of questions, right? Am I showing up? Did I show up today with my, you know, focused on my purpose with the right reasons? And am I going to do my best today?
Yeah.
So I think as a brand new leader going out and like, if you do those coach opportunities, like as long as you know why you're doing this and your reasons and you show up and do that, I think that empowers others as well to step off, you know, and to go after something they want to.
Agreed.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Lindsay, we will let you get on to your stuff, but we are extremely grateful that you gave us some time today. I have like 5 pages of notes right here in this little notebook. So
I'll send you a couple of those things. I'm going to send you guys the tracker, and I'm going to send you the solid diamond thing. And I can send you a screenshot of what that, if you guys want to run a group with your team, what that looks like. And if you're going to have, just for you guys that are maybe just diamond or right at diamond or right about to be a diamond, if you're going to have your newer coaches in there, I would include things for points like posting 3 times a day on Facebook that day. That would get them a point. Or doing their workout. That would be a point. You know, like getting them used to the 3 vital behaviors and things that really do move their businesses forward. That would be some of the stuff I would include in there, rather than like, oh, how many new emeralds do you have? If they're a brand new coach, they're probably not going to get points for that yet. So take it and readjust it if you decide to do something like that. And then also poll your team, figure out who you're working with, figure out who your, you know, people are that are driven by a challenge, figure out who your people are that need, you know, everything broken down, very simplified, like an emerald, or find the people that love the fun. And if you're pressuring them and giving them a deadline without the fun involved, they're probably backing away. It's not fun anymore. And then of course the pearls, just kind of reminding them of their why and the bigger vision. And that this really is like every single point really is a person. Like they said on the National Wake Up Call, every point is a person. And I still view it like that too. I, at this point, still make over usually 30 or so Success Club points, because I view it as those are people. Those are people that I'm helping, and I'm never going to get to the point where helping people is not something that's important to me. So of course I'm going to hit Success Club. It's also important for me to lead my coaches by example. So that's another thing that you guys have to own, is just taking ownership of the fact that if your coaches did exactly what you did today and yesterday and the day before, would they be successful? And I ask myself that all the time. So I'll send that stuff over to you, Scottie, and then thanks for being on. Good luck, guys. Crush
Thank
it.
you.
I hope to be
Thank you.
We're going to do it. Thank you, Lindsay.
Yes.
Bye.